you need to beat Russia with more innovative types of weapon, or with more kind of sophisticated approach, and similar to what is happening in the Black Sea, where instead of building a Ukrainian fleet, Ukrainian Navy forces, they destroy Russian fleet, because this is where Ukraine is not winning, but in Russia is not winning.
Yeah.
Nobody is controlling the Black Sea.
Ukraine's parliament has passed new laws aimed at conscripting hundreds of thousands of more soldiers and make up a shortfall in the nation's armed forces. Russian troops are thought to outnumber Ukraine's by as many as 10 to 1 in eastern regions. Well, it comes as Russia launched further attacks on Ukrainian energy plants near Kyiv overnight. Let's speak to Kateryna Malofieieva, who is a Ukrainian journalist. Good morning.
Good morning.
So first of all, just bring us up to date with the attacks on, very much a focus at the moment on infrastructure, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. Russia keeps attacking the objects of the infrastructure. Well, in comparison to the previous night, tonight Ukrainian air forces managed to intercept 16 out of 17 drones in the 6 regions. Mostly the southern region was attacked, southern regions of Ukraine, like Odessa, Mykolaiv, Kherson region. Although there was a fire in one of the energy objects in Dnipropetrovsk region.
How easy is it for Ukraine to intercept these drones?
It all depends on the number of the of the missiles and drones at the same time, because, for example, I spoke to some people who are operating and see them on the radars. It also depends on the number of simultaneous drones and different types of projectiles in the air. It also depends on the type of the missiles. There could be ballistic missiles for which the time of fly in the air is very short. Like, if you remember 3 weeks ago when Kyiv was attacked and the missile came from Crimea, it took 3 minutes for this missile to get into Kyiv. So it's very short, and it's not enough for Ukrainian air defense forces to basically intercept this, because it's very fast.
Yeah, of course. Let's talk a little bit about these new laws being passed to conscript many more soldiers. Tell us about the changes and indeed how that is being greeted in Ukraine.
Well, this is one of the most expected, long-awaited document, because it has been passed in this one of the most controversial, indeed. It has passed yesterday in the second reading after more than 4,000 amendments, because it had to be changed a lot. However, yesterday at the Parliament, unfortunately, so there were 16 commanders of the brigades who came from the front lines. They were in front of the Parliament, Ukrainian Parliament, Verkhovna Rada. They were greeted with applauses. However, they didn't take a speech. And as I mentioned, it's one of the most controversial laws, because what Ukrainians expected the most is the terms of demobilization, and these terms have not been said, because initially this part about demobilization required proposed 36 months of service, which means that in February 2025 there will be 36 months of service, and it might cause a lot of soldiers would demobilize.
Yeah.
That's why they removed this part, and but proposed that it will be a separate bill, and it will be discussed within the next 8 months. However, it's not a bad bill as well, because because it removed the possibilities for some Ukrainians to await the military service, and it made some changes in the deferment from the military service. For example, if you have a family when one person is with disability, and this before the man, let's say the son-in-law could should be a breadwinner and could have and was obliged to provide to this person with a disability, but this woman, let's say, she would have more sons-in-law, and everyone would have the evasion deferment from the military service. Now this details have been removed, and it will require more documentation. So in a way, it's not a bad bill, but unfortunately, it removed this possibility of for demobilization for a lot of soldiers. At the same time, Ukraine cannot win this war with the manpower, because the more men we will conscript, Russia will conscript even more. There are rumors that Russia will conscript in May, will announce mobilization in May. So you can't beat Russia with manpower. You need to beat Russia with more innovative types of weapon, or with more kind of sophisticated approach, and similar to what is happening in the Black Sea, where instead of building a Ukrainian fleet, Ukrainian Navy forces, they destroy Russian fleet, because this is where Ukraine is not winning, but in Russia is not winning.
Yeah.
Nobody is controlling the Black Sea.
Of course. Kateryna, thank you so much for explaining that to us. That's Kateryna Malofieieva, who is Ukrainian journalist. Yeah, talking about that controversial bill to change mobilisation. I mean, as she rightly points out, you're not going to compete against Russia on manpower when they just open prisons and say you can all be you can all be released, go and fight on the front line. But quite incredible, she said 4,000 amendments to that bill. One of the other things it also does is it lowers the age of conscription by 2 years, from 27 down to 25.
I was just reading in the World section this morning as well, a dispatch from Tom Ball in Kramatorsk in eastern Ukraine. He's been looking at the issue of collaborators pinpointing sites for Russian strikes. It's really fascinating. He describes deep-rooted cultural, linguistic and familial ties with Russia, meaning that cooperation with the enemy is a continuous problem for Ukraine. 8,100 criminal collaboration cases are underway, and in Kramatorsk, from where he reports, it's accented by the fact that the city was briefly occupied by Russian-backed separatists. And so actually in these sorts of areas, there are people who are aiding Russia's effort in Ukraine. That's well worth a read in the World section this morning.